Okay, so I am going to share some ideas for responsive teaching. And what I want to share with you are ways to check what your students have absorbed and do that really quickly, and then use that to respond and meet the needs of the students in your class. So the first strategy is to do with models. And it's mentioned in the responsive teaching book by Harry Fletcher Wood. And we use the term what a good one looks like quite a lot in art. So showing the students examples of successful work, so it might be from a different class or that class or one that you've produced, and then getting them to identify the key features of successful work in order to create a success criteria. If you do this at the beginning of a project, it kind of means you have that discussion really early on and they know exactly what it is that they're aiming for as they produce a piece of work. But equally, you could do this partway through, so as a kind of a recap, a refresher, so they can then sort of look at the key features in the example piece and also compare that to their own work. If you ask students to annotate this example, you actually also have an example to put up on the board, kind of quite a visual reference. So you can see the ones on the board on the slide here have been annotated around the piece of work. So it's really specific to, which bits are doing well and why. Then the second one is a kind of book, look, sort and seat strategy. This isn't so useful right now because we're not in our own classrooms, but when we do get back into the classrooms and things are kind of returned to normal at some point, this is a really useful one. It's quite nice to kind of mix your seating up sometimes and kind of move things around a bit. So the idea here is you look through each book 5 minutes before the lesson. You sort them into piles, green, amber and red. So the green ones are the ones who've really got the hang of it. The amber is kind of a bit more medium. Perhaps there's some misconceptions, but they're fairly easy to solve. And then the red groups, they're kind of, I'm really stuck and I need some more input, sort of group. And you basically, put out your books and the students sit where their books are, and you've sorted the groups into those piles. So actually you're able to allow one, your green group can just carry on and work independently. Your orange group are kind of, you're checking in and out. You perhaps have given them some extra resources, perhaps answered a couple of questions and just recapped and reminded them of the success criteria. And then the red group, you might even be reteaching certain bits of a technique or something like that. And you'll be with them a lot more in the lesson, but obviously, checking in on the others at the same time. But it's a nice way of working that is enables you to spend more time with the people who need it. And then finally, this method is using the stream. So we're quite used to gathering students around in art and having lots of discussions about work and sharing and seeing each other's work and things like that. And we're kind of struggling not being able to do that at the moment. So this way, so we've started using the stream, the Google Stream, and if you get students to upload their work perhaps halfway through a lesson or 10 minutes before the end, you can then have those discussions because everybody can see everybody's work, you can annotate them, you can kind of give feedback, and also it allows you then to kind of see if there are misconceptions, address them and kind of deal with that in your lessons. So if you look on the slide presentation here, I've also used this as a means of ragging students in my seating plan. So if I do this between lessons, I can then sort of colour code the students so I know who it is in my class that I need to kind of check in with perhaps a little bit more, keep an eye on, perhaps go and give a little bit more support to in the next class. Anyway, so I hope some or one or any of those strategies might be useful to explore in your class. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.